Well, it's Uncommon Fossil, and today I want to present a Tyranitar EX. This is a Stage 2 EX from Obsidian Flame, so excited to get to some of the new cards here. It's a very tanky Pokemon, which makes it appealing, with a pretty solid damage output. The tough part is it's a Stage 2 getting it going. It's been a struggle, and I'll kind of share my thoughts on this deck and how I've gotten here as I go through the build. So I'm playing a 3-4 line of Tyranitar EX. Even a fourth EX might be good because you want to force your opponent to hit through 3 of these to win the game. 1 single prize and 3 EXs to win the game because it takes a little bit to get going. That's the ideal strategy. You have 2 attacks, both of which you will utilize, ideally just the second one, but Mountain Hurl for 1 fighting, because the 2 fighting for the second attack, sometimes you can't get there fast enough. It does 120, it's an okay amount, and then you discard the top 2 cards of your deck, which does have some downside, but also has some value with this deck, as we'll see shortly. The main attack is Lightning Rampage for 2 fighting energy, does 150 plus. And then if your bench Pokemon have any damage counter on them, this attack does 100 more. So 250 for 2 energy on a 340 HP Pokemon. Very appealing. Sounds like it could work. I find it tougher to make happen than at this point. It's just a little slow. The bench is vulnerable. Having deck space because it's Stage 2 has been a struggle. But anyway, get back to this build as I have it. As I say, it's a 4-3, and then I play one of the single prize Tyranitar, which actually, so there's not a reason to play the 4th EX anyway, probably. So this is a good option. Certainly it hits for weakness. Things that are dark weak is useful. We don't play any dark energy. We play luminous energy, so we can only use the first attack for 1 darkness energy, which luminous energy provides. Route does 30 damage plus 30 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon if they have a full bench. That's 5 times 3, 150 plus the 30, 180. So 180 doubles. It takes out anything that's dark weak. And hey, even if it's not doubled, it's hitting for, say, 150 or 180. It's a useful number on a single prize attacker. There's sometimes just the prize map, giving up that single prizer along the way is useful. We do play a 1 of the Stage 1, so it's a 4-1-3. Then we also play 2 of the Gengar. This is really important to get in the discard pile early. I do struggle to draw it and get in the discard pile. I've been partly adjusting the deck because of that, because there's not a lot of discard items in the game now. The main one is Ultra Ball, of course, but you have to use Ultra Ball to get a Gengar, so you need 2 Ultra Balls in order to make it happen, and that's just not often possible. So I've been struggling there, but adjusting the supporters. We'll get into that soon. But it's here for Netherworld Gate ability. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put it onto your bench. If you do, put 3 damage counters on it. So it goes down to 90 HP. You have this vulnerable bench Pokemon. Radiant Greninja one-shots it. That's not great. But boom, easy. If you pull this off, you get that extra 100 damage, getting that the T-Tar EX up to the 250, which you want to do. So 2 copies. Some decks have played 1. I think 2, because if 1's prized, you really need to hit it. And even just drawing into it, you need to make it, getting it is really important and is not always so easy. I've cut the engine because honestly with the Stage 2, I think I may have already said it in this video, too many pieces getting the Stage 2 evolved, that once I put engine pieces, I just don't have enough deck space. Now look, you can shrink down your deck by cutting Pokemon like the Bibarel engine. Instead of a 2-2 Bibarel and 1 Skwovet, you could just go to like a 1-1 Bibarel, and maybe even drop the Skwovet to 2 pieces. But then once 1 piece is prized, you're just going to struggle to get the engine set up, right? So it's just a less consistent engine at that point. So I just dumped the engine, except the Cleffa. First time I've played Cleffa in a deck, I got to say, and I'm really enjoying it. 2 copies because you really want to, whenever you go second in the game, you can't attack with a deck like this. This is the best card possible. 30 HP, so it's super weak, obviously. But it attacks for free, grasping draw. You draw until you have 7 cards in hand, and free retreat. So you can start this. It becomes a pivot if your opponent gets surrounded. Having it a pivot Pokemon is always useful. And just drawing till you have 7 cards in hand. Yes, your opponent may Iono you afterwards, but you know what? Then you're still seeing 6 cards, so it's not terrible. You make your first turn, you're down to 3 cards, say in hand, getting up to 7 feels, sets up the next turn a lot better. So I'm enjoying the Cleffa, and I do want to try it out some more. In terms of energy, 2 Luminous Energy, you need this to pulp for the Dark Attack, or it provides any type of energy, but only if it's only works if it's the only special energy attached. So you can't, if you attach both Luminous Energies, they cancel. It only provides colorless, so don't ever do that. And obviously, it can pay the fighting energy as well. If you know you need the Dark Attacker, though, be careful. You only have 2 of them in this build. You guard them, treat them as precious. 8 basic fighting energies. I think this is enough. You could play. You don't need a lot of energy to attack, but you do have to get them in hand. So I don't think I'd drop below this. Adding like 1 more could feel nice, but trainers, super important with this deck. Now, you can take a lot of mulligans, right? We have 6 basic Pokemon. Mulligans are going to be common. It's nice that it auto shuffles rather than doing it IRL. So getting into the deck itself, gone with 2 Pokégear because just need to hit those useful supporters. Pokégear is part of the engine in a deck like this. Even if you could find space for more, I would. 1 Raihan. It takes 2 energy to use the main attack on the Tyranitar. So accelerating energy and searching for any 1 card, very useful with it, right? You accelerate from discard. If you were knocked out last turn, super good supporter for a deck like this. Playing the traditional 1 rope, 1 switch card, I think that's fine with this. 4 nest balls, getting those basics into play. Could cut those and put in 4 level balls. In fact, I think I'm going to do that now because that's really better, right? Since it gets the same Pokemon, the basics are all less than 90 or less, which is what Level Ball does. It goes to hand, so it gives me some more options. So let me go Level Ball. Make this change on the fly here. So the deck list will reflect that change. I at one point I played Level Ball instead of Nest Ball. I'm not sure why I went back to Nest Ball. I'm pretty sure Level Ball is the better play with this deck. 2 Bosses orders, super important. 3 Paths to the Peak. We don't have Pokemon EXs with abilities, and even Gengar's ability, even if it was a rule box, wouldn't be shut off because it's abilities only when it's in the discard pile. So Path to the Peak is very useful against a lot of decks, as we know. 2 Iono. At one point I played 4 Iono because I like it, but this deck doesn't want Iono. This deck wants Colress and or Zinnia's Resolve, which we'll get to, because what happens is a lot of times you have some cards in hand, and a lot of times you have one of the pieces you need. You may have the Rare Candy, you may have the Tyranitar EX, you may have Ultra Ball, and you just need to get the missing card into hand, right? So you want to add to it, whereas Iono, you dump it, see a fresh 6, you're probably still going to be missing a piece. I think you want to add to your hand, grow your hand, not replace your hand. That's my experience with playing the deck. So therefore, for Colress Experiment, top 5 cards, 3 in your hand, 2 in the lost zone. The odds of hitting a piece you need, very good there. 2 full face guards. I really like this in the deck. It's a tanky deck. As long as the Pokemon doesn't have a rule box, it takes 20 less damage from attacks. So very good on the Tyranitars. 2 Super Rods, just get some energies back, or Pokemon, because we might want to make them hit through 3 of the EXs if possible. We only play 3 in the deck. If one's prized or something, or we had to discard one, boom, we need to get it back. So Super Rod, and we don't play a ton of energy. We want to get some energies back to draw in to them as the game goes on. 1 Choice Belt, right? We're hitting 250, so we want to get to that 280 against V-Stars, so we need to play Choice Belt. 4 Zinnia's Resolve. I started out without this at all, then added a couple in. Now I'm at 4. I like it in this deck, right? You discard 2 cards, and then you draw a card for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play, which can be a lot of cards. It can be up to 6 cards you draw, so you get more cards in hand than Colress. So it's very nice, and it's another, and it is a card to discard the Gengar, right? Because we have the 4 Ultra Balls, which is the next card, and then we have the 4 Zinnias. So it's 4 more ways to get those Gengars in the discard. Very good in this deck. As I said, the 1 switch, and then 4 Rare Candies. It's a stage 2 deck. We need to evolve as fast as possible. Those single prize, the basic Pokemon are all very squishy. We need to get those evolved as quickly as possible. Leaving like a 70 HP Pokemon on the bench is just looking to be one shot or have multiple ones wiped out with Radiant Greninja. So I could play Manaphy in the deck, and probably if you're taking it to a tournament, you should. At this point, I'll just take the hard loss and scoop to decks that hit the bench with Radiant Greninja. But, you know, because deck space is just so tight in this, I just don't want to put that Manaphy in. Plus, I don't have a lot of basic Pokemon, as you know, so therefore I'm starting the Manaphy a lot, and it can hurt the prize math because I want to force them to hit through one single prize, 3 stage 2s if I have to bench the Manaphy unnecessarily, and then I still want to use the Cleffa. Besides that extra switch, I now have 2 single prizers, which equal 1 EX, but a lot less HP for my opponent to hit through. So let's see how the deck goes. This is not as strong a deck as I'd like, but it's a little different, a tanky deck, so I am enjoying it. All right, call heads, see what happens here. Obviously want to show this deck off. So 1, the coin toss, will go first. I'll still probably start the Cleffa. It's nice to get the pivot down, and okay, taking a mulligan, like I said, the deck likes to take mulligans. You know, I don't like taking mulligans. You're giving opponents extra cards, but it is the nature of this deck. Mulligans are us is part of this deck's motto. You know, maybe there's a better engine piece for this deck. I've messed around with some different engines. Didn't get a solution I wanted, which is why I ultimately scrapped the engine. I know people are playing me. The other way I've seen the deck go, excuse me, so what they take, 2 mulligans, not terrible. That's probably pretty average. So starting, don't have an energy to attach. That's unfortunate. So don't have energy. I may play the path depending on what my opponent's playing. Yeah. Don't have an energy. So not attaching an energy is not good. All right, so what do I need to do? I need to get down. I'm weak to grass, and they're a grass deck, so that's not good either. All right, I'm going to end turn. I could have used Ultra Ball. The question is, what do I want to get with it, right? I'm not going to get energy into play, which isn't great. I can use the first attack, though. It does do 120. Yeah. Oh, so it does discard 2 cards, right? So I didn't get to the reason that's good. It should be obvious now that you see the Gengar. It has to get in the discard pile. That is one of the ways to get the Gengar in the discard pile. So they can't attach, so that's okay. So I can take the knockout. So I want a Colress because they only have. No, actually, I want to thin the deck first. That's what I want to do. It is a bit of a risk. I'm going to get rid of Boss because I think I might need Zinnias next turn. I'm not certain. And I will grab the EX because that's what I want to play. Now it could backfire, but got the Rare Candy, got an energy. Do I want an Iono or do I want... all right, I'm going to grab... I think I want a Path. Path is going to be important in this matchup, I do believe, right? So, boom, go to the active. Energy. Don't play the Rod, because I might need the Rod to... do I want Gengar into play? I think I'll wait on Gengar. He's just a target at this point, so I will... Boom, discard 2 cards. Hopefully, there are cards like losing Rare Candy and stuff hurts. I lost the energy. That's not great, but I can put the energy back. So that's really, besides not wanting to get the Gengar back in deck, the Rod is useful now, right? If you get rid of your Pokemon or your energy, boom, get it back. So not a great start for my opponent. I have the potential to 250 next turn. They evolve into Spite Ops, right? So which does damage based on retreat cost. it has an ability to increase retreat cost too. So part of why, so maybe a bit of a stall deck. So superior V-Star. So it may be a counter deck to Charizard EX, right? Why it's a grass deck. So they get the superior V down. Did I get rid of boss? I discarded boss. Well, I got rid of two. I got rid of both bosses. Okay, so so what do I want to do here? I think at this, no, I guess I Iono. Don't think I want to get rid of these cards. I don't draw enough cards to make it useful. I may be helping out my opponent, which is unfortunate. I do have rope now, though. I like rope. Rope is good, right? So I think... So I can't evolve the bench guy, so at this point, I'm hoping they can't knock me out, right? That's what I will say. So I can't one-shot the Spirit V, right? I mean the V-Star. The V-Star, I see, is like 270, I'm thinking. So I got rid of two boss, and I believe I just played two boss, right? So that's maybe unfortunate before the game ends, but it is what it is. I don't think they're going to one-shot me. Okay, so Rocky Helmet, they hit me back with damage, right? I get 2 damage counters on me. But at this point, superior... so Blissey deck, okay, interesting. So, you know, they're trying to... So, that's okay. They're trying to kind of stall and control things. So they could use their V-Star attack. It doesn't do a lot, though. So I imagine they're not going to do that. I have PAL pad, so hopefully I get something good there. So I'm going to one-shot the Blissey. That's quite nice. I need to get energy attached, though. That's part of what needs to happen here. So give me... that is not good. That's not good. I have enough supporters in the deck. That was a bit unlucky. Problem is they don't take me out next turn. Oh, that's right. This is a Terra type. Okay, so I need to make the Gengar play. Now the Gengar, well, because they do have a stall aspect to the deck too. I can attack with Gengar though, right? As long as with the Luminous Energy, so that I can attack with it, and it's not terrible. I got to look at the attack again. I haven't really used. Okay, so that's not what I needed. Right, puts 2 damage counters on the active for each benched of my opponent's benched Pokemon. So right now it would do no damage. All right, so they're going to hit into me, but come up short. And okay, well, they're going to taking out the Gengar. Okay, which is fine. That's their first boss. Okay, so I can put him back into play, though. I kind of, honestly, I don't mind that play, I got to say, because I'm going to bench him down again, and then I will be, man, that's just terrible, right? Terrible, terrible, terrible card. I guess, do I play Zinnia's? Zinnia's is awful, but I need to draw something, right? Level Ball. Okay, Level Ball's now I'm getting the stage 1, and that's actually good, right? So Level Ball, besides the nest, better than Nest Ball because it does give me the stage 1, and I do have the stage 2. So now, look, I want to toss down a Gengar on the bench. Doesn't matter which one. I don't bench both of them because that could cause me trouble. It doesn't increase the damage having a second one. So my opponent, look, hasn't done a lot. I think I'm in pretty good shape here. So they draw a card per Lucky Energy, 220. So I don't believe they're going to knock me out. And I will finish them off. They may send up Blissey. I don't know. Blissey's researching. It has free retreat, right? The Superior V-Star. So they're going to hit me with Blissey, I assume. No, they did not. Okay, so I'm going to... So I have game here, period, right? So, all right, so that's that, right? 20 HP, so I just, boom, take him out. I could have evolved there, obviously, which would have been the play if I wasn't winning the game. You know, it still does like the draw, the energy, which is a bit silly because they can't, I mean, draw 2 cards, right? Or draw whatever their cards were, because it doesn't get them anything. The damage could matter, of course. I could knock myself out, which could help them with a challenge, which I'm all for making progress in the game. All right, so see, did I finish? I finished. Okay, I knocked out. I didn't. I attached only 1 tool. Okay, so there was the deck. Did set up about as well as the deck sets up, I will say. My opponent was slow. If my opponent got going better, I'm not sure how it would have turned out. All right, so let's see what we can do in another game. Would like to show off the deck up against an opponent that gets things going better. All right, so I get to go first again. That is, of course, a plus. We will see how things go. So taking a mulligan once again. Deck just loves the mulligans, which hey, that's the way this build is, right? There's not a lot of Pokemon, not playing an engine really, so don't have much to get going. So I'm glad I changed the Level Ball that last game, right? The Level Ball actually helped me in that game. So 2 mulligans once again. I think that was the last game too. Okay, have energy this time, so that's really good too. Yeah, okay. And the Pupitar isn't a bad option. It damages my bench, which actually is something you want to do with this game. Okay, so I want to path them, I'm pretty sure. So I want to get another basic into play. Not the Cleffa, but rather the Larvitar. And I'm going to hold off on the full face mask. Right, so because look, why do I play Path of the Peak here? It shouldn't be a big secret. Probably a Miraidon EX deck, and Miraidon EX, of course, does a great job setting up. They need to bump Path now to use its ability. So if they can't bump Path, they're not going to get any more Pokemon in play. They're slowing their setup, right? Okay, playing Pokégear. All right, Serena. They have 9. They don't draw anything with Serena though. It discards some cards. But all right, so research. Okay, probably have to play that here. EXP share. Yep, makes sense there. Well, EXP share on one of them. Okay, Ultra Ball. Yep, that makes sense too. I'm not sure if the sequencing is quite the way I would have liked to seen it, but okay, and ultimately they're going to research, I assume, Forest Seal Stone, which is a nice card to have, obviously, and they attach that. I assume the research is coming, so they could attack. Now attaching the energy to the active probably wasn't ideal. Would have been okay. So now they can use Miraidon as well. So that was a nice hit for them getting the Beach Court. So I have a fighting Pokemon here, but it evolves into a lightning Pokemon, so I don't get to hit my opponent for weakness. I'm not weak to them either, so weakness is not a problem. So the fact they bump Path is huge. Now they have the 2 Mareeps down, which they weren't not going to get down otherwise. So okay, I have free retreat, but I don't want to use free retreat. I think I want to Iono here. I know I Iono because I don't have one of the pieces that I need to get this guy going. So I'm going to Iono rather than Colress. That's 6 new cards is better for me. It may help my opponent. So I want to... I'm going to evolve the bench guy. my goal here is to, and I have free retreat, so I may want to, if I can't attack this turn, then I'm going to send up Cleffa and draw with him. Right, that comes out pretty simple. Had the pieces though. I get to attack. I'm not going to get the knockout though. So what do I discard here? The rare do I want? I don't think I need the choice belt, right? So what do I get rid of? I do have the rod, so I need the rare candy, of course. I get rid of him. I Colress. Energy could be really important though. All right, I'm going to make that play. Grab the big dog. I can attack with him, so that's a very very solid turn. Doing 150, unfortunately. You know, if I could have got the Gengar in the discard pile, would have one-shotted them, but had to use the Ultra Ball to get the T-Tar, obviously. So I do play the 2 boss to finish him off. He does 20 to each bench too, so, but you know, that's 3 hits with him, and that's not going to happen. So they can take out my bench with the V-Star attack, right? Now that takes away their Forest Seal Stone, so it's not horrible if they make that play. All right, so Iono's all right. I mean, I liked having the Colress, but okay. This is actually good too. If my bench guy survives, that's very nice. I do have Raihan as well, so I do like Raihan, and I might use that then too if I'm knocked out. If they take out my bench, then I can use Raihan this turn, which I think I will do. Get another Larvitar onto the bench. Accelerate to him with Raihan probably. So I got to look. So they're at 4. So do I don't think they're hitting the bench again, right? So let's see. What we have here. So Larvitar. I've got the 2 Gengars. I got to get the Gengars. I need to get a Gengar in the discard pile. That's part of what needs to happen, right? So at this point, I think I'm not loving my spot, you know, not loving my spot, but I think I want to get the Gengar in the discard pile this turn while I can, right? I don't need it. I don't need it for this turn, the Gengar in the discard pile, but I do like that. So I'm going to get rid of him. I'm not going to bench the Gengar yet because I'm going to want another EX in play next turn if I can, right? I'm vulnerable there for sure. Rope, and they'll take him out. But, you know, if they take him out, so I'll just hit for the, not bench, hit for 150. I can hit for 250, though, whenever I want. And it takes out everything. What it doesn't do is it doesn't take out something if it's got a Bravery Charm, right? But at this point, the Miraidon's not going to have that. So they're not going to knock me out. They could take out the Larvitar, but, you know, but I one-shot them back. At this point, I'm guaranteed the one-shot back. I don't think there's any way they can keep me from getting my Gengar into play. So they're taking, yeah, I was concerned about that. And this is part of the difficulty with the deck, right? The basic ones just keep getting wiped out. The HP, the EXs are kind of, you know, this is the plus and minus of the EX. They evolve from a single prize Pokemon, so you only give up 1 prize when it's knocked out. So they're taking out the Larvitar once again, which is really annoying, right? And this guy's set up. He's got the full face guard or face shield. What's it called? And it's got the energy, which is a bummer, full face guard. So, but it only getting a prize for it each time. So that's 3 prizes. So you know what? So I can keep, if I get the opportunity, I can toss down another Larvitar. I don't have any more full face guards. That part's unfortunate. And I think I discarded the Choice Belt, right? So I will one-shot the Raikou, though. And I have 0 damage on my Tyranitar. Now, maybe I don't put another basic into play, though, right? Because that could cost me this game. I haven't played a boss or seen the boss yet. So, right? So I can one-shot them. Because if I play... All right, Luminous is okay. All right, so this is the obvious play. All right, I want the basic. I want the boss. And I might want the Iono. I'm not sure if I do, though. I'm going to grab Ultra Ball. So right now, so I have to do this to get the one-shot. So Netherworld Gate, you know, very nice there. Have damage, take the knockout. I have boss, so I have game in hand for next turn, which is nice as well. I'll attach a basic energy. I don't have Raihan again, which is unfortunate, but that, you know, boom, I have the knockout. They can't take out my big dog at this point. They can take out the 2 single prizers on me, but that doesn't get them game. They can get the Gengar stuck in the active, which is annoying, but I don't think, you know, they don't want to play a stall game against me. So, you know, I have my Switch and my Rope, I think, still in deck, right? I haven't been paying attention. Yeah, I haven't seen those. One of them could be prized. The odds of them both being prized are super slim, right? Out of 24 cards, those exact 2 cards being prized, highly unlikely. One being prized is still unlikely, but not like shockingly insane, you know, not like crazily unlikely. So we'll see what happens here. So they just gave up the game there, right? So, all right, so I'm just going to hit into them, right? And so now 250 down to 2 prizes. So, hey, there we go. Back-to-back wins with this deck. You know, the fact that the Larvitars keep getting knocked out isn't great. It makes it tough to get going. But because I'm so tanky, just be aware of the prizes. Don't give them enough single prizes to win the game, which is also part of the problem with the engine pieces, right? The engine pieces like the barrel or Curler are single prize Pokemon. You give up enough single prize Pokemon, your opponent doesn't have to worry, doesn't have to hit through so many of these Tyranitars, right? So giving up those cheap knockouts, I don't love. So there we go. So the deck performed pretty well. I've spent a decent amount of futzing around with this deck, just trying to get a build I was happy with. You know, I felt like this was a bit of a desperation, ditching the engine, but it actually is working it's worked pretty well since I've made this last change. You know, it's not a ton of games, maybe like 6 games or 8 games with this build, but it's winning a lot more than it's winning more than losing, and that's really what you look for in a deck. The Cleffa does feel nice when I've gone second. I didn't do that in this video, but it is a very nice feeling. And hey, this deck looks like it's a reasonable choice for now, and I do think down the road, as things slow down, as more of these Vs rotate, decks like this are going to pick up even more. So don't be afraid to give it a try now, and if not now, keep it in mind for later. Take care.